According to one study, the eyes of the mascots on breakfast cereal boxes are tilted downward to look directly at the child. In the first rays of the morning, at the exact moment our child should be alert, energetic, and ready to learn, we are unknowingly pouring a chemical cocktail into that bowl that spikes fast and crashes hard. We are not giving them a great start, we are giving them a secret obstacle right in the morning. How ethical that is remains debatable. Those cereals that are produced for children, yet we adults find ourselves eating the whole box after just one handful. Well, they are not innocent at all. Our investigation in this video will expose how these products, found in nearly every home around the world, target our children's attention, behaviour and long-term health. What marketers call nutrition, we call a generational public health scandal. First, without further ado, I want to briefly share the investigation details with you. File 04-15. Subject: the children's breakfast cereal empire. Crime: addiction engineering targeting young minds, the use of chemical dyes, and the corporate collapse of conscience. Culprit: synthetic dye and addictive sugar trapped in a bowl, infiltrating the innocence of the morning table. This investigation is not just about what is inside a box. This is a multi-year psychological war waged by major food corporations to maximise their profit margins by targeting children. Today, we will expose how the most fundamental trust of parents has been betrayed and what chemical bombs are hidden behind a colourful spoonful of supposed innocence. If you are ready, grab your tea or coffee, let's dive deep. Breakfast cereals were born in the 19th century as a healthy, easy-to-digest food. However, by the mid-20th century, the major food industry intervened and changed the product's DNA forever. As competition in the market increased, companies discovered a fact. Children demanded cheerful flavours and bright colours. A legacy of fibre-rich diet suddenly turned into a chemically stabilised sugar bomb with up to 50% sugar content. The sugar in these cereals was not just for flavour, of course. Manipulating brain chemistry was one of the key goals. Consuming large amounts of processed sugar at breakfast triggers a powerful dopamine release in the child's brain. This rapidly activates the brain's reward system. The child then craves that momentary peak of happiness and energy again. This is not a coincidence. Companies formulate their products, not with food engineers, but with behavioural psychologists. The goal is to secure the repeat purchase cycle by engineering addiction. So what your child says they crave is actually a chemical conditioning. What the industry tells us with a sneer is, contains fibre. This is where the mask of honesty drops. The amount of added fibre is not nearly enough to mitigate the effect of this massive sugar bombardment. This is like trying to clean up a crime scene with tiny, insignificant pieces of evidence scattered to cover the crime. Ultimately, they soothe their conscience with 1 single gram of fibre. Remember, we all loved that crunch as kids. The speed at which those cereals would slide out of the bowl and down our throats. No matter how delicious it tasted then, what was sold to us was not flavour. What was sold to us was a dopamine peak, designed to numb our brains by the time the next school bell rang. This is emotional exploitation. The most critical evidence in our investigation: artificial synthetic colourings. Dyes like red 40, blue 1 and yellow 5 are synthetic chemicals, often derived from petroleum or coal tar. We must pause here. These dyes are used to make food look more appealing. But if something you eat requires a petroleum-derived chemical to look good, doesn't that indicate a fundamental problem with the product itself? The philosophy of the food industry is, if real food is ugly, apply chemicals to make it look pretty. It's that simple. And then there's the legal scandal of this issue. The double standard on the label. We can call this the clearest point of failure for the corporate conscience. Yes, my friend, I'm talking about the regulation difference between the European Union and the USA. The Southampton University study, published in 2007, proved that 6 common food dyes increased hyperactivity in children. Following this study, The European Union made it mandatory for products containing these dyes to carry the statement, "may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children." However, the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, rejected this warning. The same product continued to be sold on US supermarket shelves without any warning to parents. This is not an omission, it is a corporate decision. Companies chose to reformulate the product rather than include the label, but they only applied that decision in markets where restrictions were enforced. This is a corporate conscience investigation, nothing less. The same company sells the same product with different standards on two different continents. American children are not informed about the risks that Europeans are mandated to be warned about. Why? Because a warning label reduces sales. Their profit is more important than your child's attention span. This is an act of betrayal more than just a violation. Many parents blame themselves when their child can't sit still. They think, "I'm not disciplined enough." But stop and think. You might not be the source of the problem. The issue might be those synthetic dyes entering your child's brain and overstimulating their nervous system. These dyes might not just be colouring the cereal, they might be colouring your child's brain. Have you ever thought your child was acting dim? Are these children truly simple-minded? Or is there something making them simple-minded? Let's dive a little deeper and examine exactly what these chemicals do to our children's brains. Research shows that synthetic food dyes exacerbate symptoms of ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, particularly in sensitive children. These chemicals can trigger the body's histamine release and create direct toxic effects on the nervous system. And of course, these cereals are not just made of sugar and dye. Our other suspects are as follows. Hydrolyzed proteins. These substances, used to enhance flavour, can be hidden forms of free MSG, monosodium glutamate. In this case, MSG can overstimulate the brain by increasing nerve impulses. BHA, BHT, butylated hydroxyanisole toluene. These preservatives, used to prevent fat from going rancid, have been linked to potential carcinogenic effects in studies on rodents. These chemicals keep the food looking fresh while introducing foreign substances into your body's system in the long term. After all this, parents might think their children are misbehaving or unable to focus. Yet, this is a side effect of the chemical placed directly into the bowl. Ultimately, companies have been funding a generation's attention problems with a bowl full of synthetic chemistry. Moving to another matter, after a multi-billion-dollar advertising budget, what is the cost of selling such a toxic product? Listen closely to this part. Marketing focuses directly on the child's eye level. According to one study, the eyes of the mascots on breakfast cereal boxes are tilted downward to look directly at the child. This is not just a detail, it is a meticulously planned psychological manipulation. Toys, games, and promotions position the product as a psychological tool more than a food. The shelf prices of these products are low, but the production costs are even lower. Profit margins skyrocket thanks to the high volume use of cheap sugar and synthetic chemicals. This is a model of sacrificing health and ethics to maximise the profit margin. In short, this is not simple advertising. This is a psychological warfare tactic deployed on the front lines. By using attractive mascots, free toys, and cartoon licenses, emotional blackmail is created against children. When the child cries, the parent gets tired and the box goes into the cart. The industry bypasses the ability to think logically about the content by exploiting the child's desire. So, my dear friend, these boxes cannot escape being more of a billboard than a food product. Yes, my friend, we have gathered all the evidence. The culprits: excessive sugar, petroleum-based dyes, and corporate deception. The children's breakfast cereal industry has been found guilty of the crime of willfully endangering the health and cognitive development of children. After learning this information, when you look at that shiny box on the supermarket shelf, you will no longer just see breakfast, you will see a crime scene. As parents, our greatest power lies in our purchasing decisions. Verdict: read the labels to protect your child's brain and body. Take the dye warning seriously. Choose real food over synthetic tricks. Remember, you can win this fight. Share this vital information with other parents and share your experiences with these chemicals in the comments. Please also let me know in the comments which product file you would like us to open for our next investigation. If you found our content helpful, you can support our detectives by subscribing. We wish you a healthy life. This is gastrocrimes, where food meets chemistry.